2 of SpongeBob SquarePants. Before we get started, let me point something out. This may concern you, but you see that air date for the first episode and the production number. It was the first episode of the season, but it was the third episode of season 2 aired on Nickelodeon. Yeah, I don't know why, but Nickelodeon has a strange airing order. And I don't know why they air the episodes out of order. And the production number don't always match with the airing order. I'll be explaining that further. But anyway, let's get started. Episode 21A, Your Shoes Untied. SpongeBob forgets to tie his shoes. Fun fact, SpongeBob was able to tie his shoes in the previous season 1 episode, Rock Bottom, but now he forgets. But my favorite part of the episode is the Loop-de-Loop song. Alright guys, well, the opening to this episode is inappropriate because at the beginning, when he's watching Coral on TV, it looks like he is watching something disgusting, but he was looking for the sports channel. Well, SpongeBob forgets how to tie his shoes. When I was a kid, I learned. I couldn't remember for a while, but then my dad taught me how to do it, and I was able to remember. When SpongeBob, I like it how SpongeBob is walking over the Krabby Patty to Squidward, which I really liked. SpongeBob keeping asking people to tie their shoes. No one in Bikini Bottom wears shoes except for SpongeBob and Gary. I'm gonna had a hard time about what to rate this episode, but I'll give this episode an 8. This episode could have gotten a higher rating, like a 10, if it was a little bit funnier and he didn't keep asking all those people to tie their shoes, and if there were more clever jokes, then I could have given this episode a higher rating. This is episode 21B, Squid's Day Off. Mr. Krabs goes to the hospital and leaves SpongeBob in charge. Fun fact, there are 293 different ways to make change for $1. SpongeBob only lists 5. My favorite part is Squidward's paranoia of him running back and forth to his house in the Krusty Krab, and while SpongeBob is saying, "Have you finished those errands?" repeatedly. And guess what? This episode is great. I'm going to give this episode 10. I liked a ton of stuff in this episode. Like Mr. Krabs getting his hand stuck in the sink after his slime drops, and Squidward in the bathtub, and his nose falling off at the end. All really good stuff. And Squidward imagining SpongeBob setting the Krusty Krab on fire, and then the firemen and coming to Krusty Krab and Squidward trying to put it out. That was really also kind of funny. I don't have anything much else to say about this episode. It was great, but now let's move on to the next one. Episode 22A, Something Smells. SpongeBob makes a sundae that gives him bad breath. Fun fact, there is an audio glitch on the Season 2 DVD. There were some lines that were in the wrong places. I don't really know which ones. But my favorite part is the ugly barnacle. Okay, you just noticed a new Easter egg. There is a picture of eyes in the top right corner of the screen. That means it has an episode where someone says, "My eyes!" Also, it has the "my leg" gag on the video. Now look, this was actually the first Season 2 episode aired on Nickelodeon, but it was the 3rd episode in production order. Now let's talk about the episode itself. SpongeBob makes a peanut sundae that gives him bad breath. He was out of ice cream and had to use ketchup. Also, SpongeBob crying while chopping onions was pretty funny. Yeah. Everyone is running away from SpongeBob because of his bad breath, but the peanut sundae gave him his bad breath. And also, the lines when they're in the movie theater, Fred saying, has become very popular on the internet. And this is a really great episode. I like this episode a lot. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Episode 22B, Bossy Boots. Pearl gets a job working at the Krusty Krab. Fun fact, apparently SpongeBob doesn't know what a salad is. And my favorite part is the different names for the Krusty Krab. I really don't have that much to say about this episode. So, I still like, it's funny when SpongeBob pretends to fire Pearl. Pearl was only pretending to like this place. Mr. Krabs told SpongeBob to fire Pearl. He was only pretending to like it. He was working there for the summer. The Krusty Krab was a bad place, so they needed a new name. You know what's that weird? The name of the episode is called Bossy Boots, and the word boots isn't even mentioned in the episode. Yeah, it was originally titled Working Pearl. Then the writers decided, you know what, let's change the name of this episode to Bossy Boots. The different names, the Creepy Crab was too scary, and the Cowboy Crab, and the Chaotic Crab, and then they finally decide the Kissy Crab. This episode, I didn't really have a lot. I'm gonna give it an 8. Also, the scene when SpongeBob thinks Mr. Krabs is dead, and then tickling him with a feather that wakes him up, was actually a scene that I actually enjoyed. Episode 23B, Big Pink Loser. Patrick gets an award. Fun fact, second time Patrick works at the Krusty Krab, the first being ARG. My favorite part is when Patrick is copying SpongeBob. This was actually pretty funny. And look at that quote there. Patrick saying that, he says that 3 times, and it has become a popular internet meme all over YouTube. No, this is Patrick. Patrick answers the phone at the Krusty Krab, and he's like, is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. The second time, he gets more annoyed, and the third time, he yells that out. This episode, I'm going to give this episode a 9. It's still an enjoyable episode, though. Also, Patrick thinks he got the award, and then SpongeBob's award closet, Patrick must have gotten it by mistake, and he was actually SpongeBob's award. And my favorite part, Patrick copying SpongeBob so he can win that award. Then SpongeBob gets annoyed. Those gags were also pretty funny. And SpongeBob pretending to be Patrick's star, Patrick's house like SpongeBob's, were all kind of funny. And at the end, Patrick gets the award. Enjoyable episode. Episode 23B, Bubble Buddy. SpongeBob creates a bubble friend. Fun fact, Leif Erikson Day is an actual holiday, celebrated on October 9th. My favorite part is the ending. I don't have much to say about this episode either. SpongeBob dates a bubble, and I like the part when Bubble Buddy drinks the shampoo, and he says it tastes funny, and Bubble Buddy being lactose intolerant and can't eat cheese, and also different things that Bubble Buddy did at Goo Lagoon. But there is a joke that goes on for like 2 minutes of the episode when they're telling him to pop the bubble, and he's trying to escape being popped, and other people having friends that they loved were all actually pretty funny. But the part that I really didn't like so much when Bubble Buddy washed Pearl's flipper and causes damage to the Goo Lagoon. So I'm gonna give this episode, what should I rate this? I think I'll give it a 9 out of 10. If this annoys you, yeah, I see people liking this episode, and I see people hating this episode. Bubble Buddy will make another appearance in the series, like in season 8. Bubble Buddy will return for SpongeBob. But let's move on. Episode 24A, Dying for Pie. SpongeBob gives SpongeBob a pie that later turns out into explosive. Fun fact, Squidward drives a boatmobile in the episode. My favorite part is when SpongeBob yells out to Gary that he's gonna finish his dessert. Gary, you are gonna finish your dessert, and you are gonna like it. This episode is totally amazing. I'm gonna give this episode gonna give it a 10. This is a truly amazing, great episode. I like all the gags. I like it when Squidward jumps up and down and says, "That's not what I meant, you barnacle heads." And the pie is actually bombs. He was actually just kidding about the bombs. Squidward tries to give SpongeBob the last day of his life because he was supposed to explode. Squidward and SpongeBob showing all their friends in Bikini Bottom and salmon suits. And then in regular suits, and then friends in reverse, also watching the sunset. Squidward, they count down from 5, and they start too early. Like, they count it down again. Then the sun sets, he's like at 2, and then Squidward is crying and saying 1, and SpongeBob blows a bomb. Also, I like the beginning when SpongeBob is looking at Squidward through the Krusty Krab, and the sweater made of SpongeBob's tears was also pretty funny. Also, I like their book of ideas. This is a truly amazing episode. I don't have anything else to say about this episode. It was great. Now I'm going to go to the next one. Episode 24B, Imitation Crabs. Plankton disguises himself as a robot version of Mr. Krabs to obtain the formula. Fun fact, a Krabby Patty costs $2.99, and on Wednesdays it costs 99 cents. My favorite part of the episode is... I didn't really have a favorite part of the episode. But anyways, I like the Bikini Bottom national anthem, where they Bikini Bottom, and the quote, "Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formiwoli." I don't have much to say about this at one. I also liked how the Robo Crabs tried to grab the formula, and then it explodes, and then it rolls back to Mr. Krabs, and then he fails. And also, in a later episode of the series, Robo Crabs will appear again. And so I'm going to give this episode a 9. I didn't have a favorite part of this episode, like I said earlier, but it was still an enjoyable episode.